Welcome back, Kuma Crew. It is me, the leader of the bunch, your favorite friendly despair bear, Annakuma, and I'm back with another demo review. One day will be that I'm back with an actual review to one of the many demos I've already done, as that is the whole point of this series. It is kind of pointless to keep doing the demos and not finishing the actual reviews. One day, guys. One day. I digress though. Today's review is for a game that is due for release on October 24th. I am super excited about this game, and it is called Prim. Developed by Common Colors and Application Systems, the game is a beautifully designed dark point-and-click adventure where you get to play as Prim, Death's daughter, as she tries to break every single rule that Death has forced on her in her quest to find a little boy she thinks she needs to help. Death having a daughter, that sounds oddly familiar. I don't know where I've heard that before. The demo starts with a cutscene, as most demos tend to do, and it basically sets out what I just said above. This cutscene, though, is such a wonderfully animated scene. It blends the Tim Burton-esque style of the main game with this cute little sketchy style as Prim tells a journal of the problems she has with her father and her need to get back to the land of the living to help this little boy who needs her.
My problem is, for days, I've been dreaming of this human boy, crying out for me. I don't know him, but I have the strong feeling that I have to come and help him.
If you think the cutscene looks good, then the writing is absolutely amazing. It introduces us well enough to how Prim thinks, and it probably is exactly how you'd think the Daughter of Death would think. Sassily. Kinda like Bart Simpson-y in some ways as well. After the cutscene, we're into the tutorial puzzles. They also flash up the instructions, so you get to see how to play the game as well. Look at the detail in this room. She has posters on the wall that have some really nice designs to them. There's toys and books generally that look stuffed into the bookcases that sprawl over 2 floors in her room. She has this adorable wooden rocking horse in the foreground, and then these 2 dribbly candles on the bookshelf by her desk, which I just absolutely adore. I don't know, guys, I really like candles, and I can probably blame that on the old Discworld games. Prim's room isn't just a room I wished I had when I was her age, it's still the room I wish I have now that I'm 35. That being said, this room does also kind of set the bar very high for the amount of detail you want to see later in the game, but that isn't a demo problem to worry about. Our tutorial puzzle is pretty simple, made even more simple with the pretty standard point-and-click control scheme. We have the right mouse click for looking at things, the left mouse click to interact with things, the mouse wheel scrolls up and down for the inventory. It's that simple. The game is also entirely voice acted, so clicking on every little object you can find will give you a witty little one-liner from Prim.
Oh, Samuel the Red, the best basketball player of all time. I mean, what girl of 13 has not a weak spot for demons in shorts?
Or you could just go ahead and click that box, the one she told you to click. You know, the one ominously wiggling on the windowsill. When you get to opening the box, a little spider eyeball buddy will pop out, and the real first puzzle is upon you. How do you capture our new friend? There isn't anything too taxing about this multi-step puzzle. If you have played many adventure games before, it's going to be pretty obvious what they want you to do, but I feel it won't be too hard for someone new to the genre to get it either. Prim's interactions with the puzzle are easy to understand. The items and the descriptions give you a good idea, and the game has Prim actually unbox her hotspots, so if you get lost with what you need to pick up, you can just tap the spacebar to find what you're missing. A few inventory puzzles later, and we have a new friend, and we're ready to deal with Daddy Dearest. So the second part of the demo sees us take over the spider, which seems to promise a dual action kind of game. Think Sam and Max, but Max is more playable and actually useful. There are other games I could have gone with, but I love to mansion Max as much as I can. He is my spirit animal after all. As for the spider, you have your own little inventory, so it isn't like there are a lot of special little things you can or can't do. He obviously won't give you clues like Prim, but Prim is keeping her eye on her Ida, and will stop him when she needs to give him as many clues as she can from her doorway.
Wait, you can't drug my father? I mean, we don't even know what kind of plant that is. It could turn him into some kind of ugly skeleton monster. No, seriously, let's find out what these plants are before we do anything stupid.
And this dynamic is super fun as well. As I said, the Ida doesn't really have any different mechanics to him than Prim, but he does have better movement. Being a spider-like creature, you'll be able to scuttle up things that normal protagonists would probably have to figure out how to use ectoplasm to get to.
That should do the trick.
To get to the solution, you have to use a combination of the Ida's exploration and collection in the room of your father, and then back in Prim's room, the knowledge that she has. The Ida finds some plants, Prim can tell you what those plants do, and then we get to go and drug Daddy.
Oh, this is it! This looks exactly like the plant from Father's study. White Widow, also known as Hypno's finest. Known for its narcotic effect, which is, unfortunately, so weak that it only kicks in when the subject is already very tired. Perfect.
Now you might be asking why we'd want to drug Death, but let me be clear. If drugging Death gives us this dancing, I don't want to stop doing it. Eventually, though, you will knock him out, grab his keys and set Prim free before we rip out her eyeball and become her spyball? And then we end the demo. It fades into the creator talking about the creation of the game, and we're done. Jonas, the creator, will have this to say.
Too long for you? No problem. Let me put it this way. Imagine Monkey Island, but Tim Burton made the art and Terry Pratchett wrote the story, inspired by Greek mythology. That's basically what it feels like to play Prim.
And now you know exactly why I am so excited about this game. Well, that is if you know anything about me. Overall, the demo took about 30 minutes on stream, but that was with a break in the middle of it, and probably with me waffling on, so that's a rough estimate. Honestly, I'd have to say this demo was as near to perfect as you can get for me personally. It showed off the story in a well-written intro, it then dived into Prim's personality with her witty one-liners as you look around her room, and interacted with the puzzles she was faced with. We had a good look at how diverse the puzzles will be, and how having a spyball sidekick is going to play out, and then ended with the creator giving us a small little snippet about what inspired him, and what he hopes to create with the game. Like my last demo review for Murder on Space Station 52, it didn't outstay its welcome and left you interested to see how the story plays out. Now, let us talk about the actual gameplay, shall we? Prim so far plays as a pretty standard modern point-and-click game. As I said before, it's right-click to look, left-click to interact. You have a nice spaced out inventory. Inventory items can be picked up and just clicked with something else to combine them or use them, and there is no fuss or bother, just good old-fashioned pointing and clicking. Now, I might sound like I'm giving them credit for making a simple mechanic, well, simple, but I grew up with the verbiage systems that sometimes had the most ridiculous hoops you'd have to jump through to get things done. I also earlier this year played It's Grim Up North, which was a fun game, don't get me wrong. One that I need to review for this demo review series. It was actually the first one I did, and I still haven't done the main game review. I'm sorry about that. But that game forced you to combine the items in its own little area in the inventory. There is something I love about going back to the most simplistic of styles, and with Monkey Island being an inspiration to the game, I feel the curse of Monkey Island mechanics seeping through to make it an enjoyable yet easy time. And that isn't a negative either. Adventure games don't have to be more complicated than this. If it is a gimmick to the game and done well, then I'm all for it, but the heart and soul of the genre is the stories they tell and how well the puzzles are crafted, and you don't have to get bogged down on silly things like how am I meant to combine this hand with a pocket scythe to move on. Sticking with the simplistic route, so far the puzzles are also pretty simple. When I say simple, I don't even mean easy, I just mean they have simple logic to them. You aren't going to be sat here trying to solve some unsolvable riddle or find some tiny little thing that is naked to the human eye. I said in the overview that Prim makes it pretty obvious what you have to do, and you just have to figure out how to do it. Now, of course, this is also the first area of the game, so it could get much more complicated and convoluted as it goes along, but so far, again, it takes from Curse of Monkey Island, where the puzzles are fun and easy. You just have to listen to what the characters are saying to figure them out. And I've already said above that I like the inventory system, but I also like how it looks as well. It pops up from the bottom of the screen like a scroll of paper, and you can kind of imagine Prim magicking them onto the scroll, and then just taking it out of her pocket and magicking them back when she needs them. It also just matches that gothic theme running through it, seeing as, you know, she is Death's daughter and all. Scrolls, dribbly candles, black and white, skulls, and of course other occult stuff are just to be expected. I feel even the introduction of the hotspots fit the theme, with them being like little bugs that she just lets out of a jar. In fact, it kind of reminded me of the time in Discord 2 when Rincewind has to present 1,000 souls to Albert, so he goes and grabs fireflies from the garden in a jar. For me, my biggest fear for the game is that it just won't personally live up to my expectations, which is not really a fear at all. This feels like a game made for me personally. I felt targeted as I played it. Adventure games were the genre of games I loved most throughout my life. Monkey Island was a staple of my childhood, and I was an avid reader of Sir Terry Pratchett's work as well. And I was also a player of the Discworld games. My entire family is in love with Tim Burton and his works. I ticked off these inspirations like a grocery list, and when Jonah showed up and confirmed every single one of them, I wasn't surprised at all, but genuinely excited for it. I'm not the kind of person who'll be upset if it doesn't match the silly expectation I have for it, but it is a fear that I have too high hopes for the game, for silly nostalgia reasons. That being said, the demo gives me great hope that we're gonna have a classic on our hands. It blends this timeless humor that old LucasArts games had with the wit of Pratchett. The story isn't overly complicated, and in a way mirrors Mort, the book by Terry Pratchett, as Mort tries to help Kelly. Prim just wants to go to the land of the living to help this boy who is crying in her dreams. Instead of there being a world-altering reason not to do it though, the simple reason for this game is that her dad is overly protective, so wants to keep her safe. She has the kind of cheeky old-style Bart and Lisa Simpson vibe to her. She thinks she knows everything, but at heart, she's still just a little kid. She's like Tommy Pickles out on an adventure with Chucky, who rips his eyeball out to sit inside his skull. Okay, the scene wasn't that gruesome. It was actually kind of funny. More like the witches in Hercules sharing the eyeball kind of thing. Away from that though, the demo makes the game look like it's just going to be an innocent adventure, which also means that it looks like it'll be a game that everyone can play, and that is sometimes what is missing with adventure games these days. Sure, the humor in LucasArts and Sierra games were adult at times, but it was that wonderful 90s family humor where as a kid you didn't get the jokes, but your parents did, so everyone was able to enjoy it. Prim feels like a game I'd happily sit down with my nieces to play as well as enjoy it on my own. Not just that, but it looks like it's not going to frustrate me with the puzzles either. One of the genre's biggest pitfalls is just forgetting to explain what the audience needs to know to solve any given puzzle, sometimes because they think it should just be obvious. Prim looks like it will treat the audience with respect, whilst giving them all the clues they need to solve the puzzle at hand. Prim's demo is beautiful. It is stuffed full of wit and whimsy. Every character has so much love and attention put into their design and dialogue, and Prim herself feels already like a pretty well fleshed out character with a strong sense of purpose and her own little personality. I'm 100% certain this game will stand tall on its own merits and will impress even non-fans of the genre. Is that too much gushing? It might be too much gushing. Shall we end then? We might want to end. So that is all I have time for, Kuma Cubs. Thank you as always for sticking with me for this video. I'm currently working on the review for It's Grim Up North. I promise I've mentioned it now 3 times in this video. I will get it done, which was the first of the demo reviews I did. So it should rightfully be the first of the big boy reviews I finish. I hope I have gotten you interested in Prim though, and down in the About section will be the link to the store page, so check it out. I will be streaming this game close to its release, so keep an eye out over here for the VODs, and then over on Twitch for the actual streams. Which means only one thing, it's time for the plugs! So as anyone who has been here for a while knows, I have agoraphobia, so streaming and YouTube are as close to jobs as I have. I can't always guarantee that I do them well, or even could do them at all, as my mental health is all over the place, so any little support I get is greatly appreciated. That means I would love for you to drop a subscription over here, like and comment so that the algorithm gods look kindly on me, but also give me a follow over on twitch.tv/Annakuma. That was /. I don't know why I said it funny. That's also Annakuma with 2 A's, as Annakuma with 1 A was already taken. Sad times. I have a 1K follower goal on Twitch, which I announced with great enthusiasm in April, before spending most of this year trying to drag my motivation and mental health off the ground. That being said, we are about 8 followers away from 800, and 800 for Christmas would still put me over 100 in the year, so please think about joining us over there if you would like. Our community is chaotically chill. We love a bit of banter and play all sorts of games, but we're also a pretty tight-knit community of very different people, mainly just thrown together for no reason. We'd love to have you join us. But until next time, my friends, keep your eyeballs safe, don't trust any spy balls near them, and always, as in never, like genuinely don't do this, drug your scary daddy so he dances like it's the 70s again. Goodbye, and as always, thank you.